Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the webinar for Migration Acceleration Program for Windows and Overview. My name is Kalpan Raval. I am from AWS's EC2 Windows team, and I have with me Patrick Zhu, who leads AWS's Migration Acceleration Program. For today's agenda, I have three things to cover with Patrick. First of all, I would cover the fact that why are so many customers migrating their Windows workloads to AWS. We then will talk about how would you migrate and go a little bit on AWS migration methodology and frameworks and tooling. And at the end, we will talk about what are those resources that we can make you available and what are those resources that you can utilize to make your Windows workload migrations successful. So with that, let me begin sharing with you why are customers migrating their Windows workloads to AWS. So first of all, I want to establish that so many customers choose AWS for their Windows workloads because AWS has the most experience. We have 11 plus years of experience running Windows workloads on AWS. With that, the global reach of our platform, the security and compliance, the customer obsessive innovations that you can see here, we have more than 175 service offerings now, and a capability that delivers very consistently 80,000 number of IOPS per instance, and improved TCO that shows with 80 price reductions since 2006. I also want to share that we have most experience and growing number of customer base on Windows workloads. Our CEO said, there is no compression algorithm for experience, and you can see here 11 plus years of experience of helping our customers to run and scale their Windows workloads in our cloud. With that, we have 400% growth between 2015 and 2018 in our enterprise customers using Amazon EC2 for Windows Server. Why do customers love AWS for Windows workloads? We have heard many times that, and first of all, the stats that we observe from IDC report on business value snapshot that was in last year that shows 442% ROI over 5 years, 98% less unplanned downtime, and 56% lower 5-year cost of operations. These are the key stats that the analyst had to report. But we also know that we have number of customers, nearly 2 times as many Windows Server instances are running on our cloud as Microsoft does. So that's another stat to keep in mind as so many customers are adopting to AWS for their Windows workloads. It's also about our platform and our infrastructure that spans 69 availability zones, 22 geographical regions, and 13 availability zones, and 4 more AWS regions coming up. So unlike virtually every other technology infrastructure provider, each AWS region has multiple availability zones, as you can see from this architecture. And based on the publicly available data, AWS had 7 times less downtime hours in 2018 than the next largest cloud provider. With those facts in mind, let's not forget about security. We provide enterprise-grade security, a fully grained level control. We have natively built security framework from the ground up and have millions of active customers every month that inform our security. 93 compliance certifications and accreditations. I will say what our customers say. We worked closely with Amazon team to develop a security model which we believe enables us to operate more securely in the public cloud than we can even in our data centers. That is what the Capital One, our customer, had to say. Also, referring to analyst research, specific research on SQL Server on AWS that exhibited 2 times plus better price performance than Azure. ZK Research reported earlier that costs per 1 billion transactions per month, and as you can see here on this chart, we can say that the first chart is the billion transactions per month, and for this, smaller is better, AWS is cheaper, as you can see. And then ZK Research dove into performance of SQL Server, and again, SQL Server on AWS outperformed SQL Server on Azure when they looked at it from a transactions per minute perspective. So net-net, SQL Server on Amazon EC2 consistently outperforms price across as compared to Azure. Let's go around and talk about quickly on the how quick and easy it is to migrate your Windows applications to AWS, specifically using AWS prescriptive migration methodology and tooling. As we talked about with other leaders and our customers, we want to share what we hear in common from our customers. Customers ask questions such as, how do I create a business case? And you will hear shortly from Patrick and I, how do you create your cloud migration business case in our methodology? Customers want to know, what do I have in my environment? And that states, how do I discover? How do I get started? What do we do after we migrate? And how do I get my teams reskilled? Is AWS more expensive than Azure? We can answer all those questions, and to answer that, we have built a methodology, a framework that can serve repeatedly to many, many customers to be able to address their migration questions and become successful in migrating the Windows workloads. So let's see how a typical customer migration experience look like. Customers typically go through 3-phase journey to accomplish their objectives. It starts with migration assessment phase that includes migration readiness assessment, we call it MRA, along with a TCO model and discovery to build a high-level business justification. And here's where you identify opportunity to optimize licensing for your Windows migration project. The second phase really is Mobilize, that is designed to build your capabilities and experience as to how easy it is to migrate to AWS. It includes 8 work streams that Patrick is going to take us through later. Their picture here, and the level of activity required in this work streams is determined by the readiness assessment we have done earlier in the assess phase. Mobilize does include actual migration of a recommended 5-10 applications. It typically involves our professional services or our partners that prepares you for large-scale migration foundation, which is really the third phase. During the migrate and modernize phase, you will continue to migrate waves of applications, operate and optimize in cloud, and also look for modernization of a subset of applications. So that's how the customer experience is described here. Now I will hand it over to Patrick, who will walk us through each phase in more details.
Thanks, Kalpan. Like Kalpan explained, AWS Migration Acceleration Program for Windows is built on a 3-phase journey: assess, mobilize, and migrate and modernize. Through the process, we help our customers build up the foundation that is essential to a successful and smooth migration. The core to our approach is the migration methodology we have created based on the hundreds of large-scale migrations we have helped our customers execute. The first phase is assess. This is where we start by helping our customers assess their readiness for migration and build up a business case. In this phase, we will primarily deliver 2 engagements: a discovery and licensing assessment and a migration readiness assessment. The first step in the migration journey is what we call a Migration Readiness Assessment, or MRA. It is a foundational step to prepare you for migration success. MRA is a one-day workshop where we get together with our customers and rate their readiness across 6 dimensions, leveraging our AWS Cloud Adoption Framework. You will notice that these 6 dimensions cover a wide range of functions related to migration. For example, to ensure the whole organization is aligned on the migration target, you will need a strong business case. Or you may also need to build a new security model to manage the risk and compliance for your cloud environment. The goal for MRA is to help customers understand their level of readiness in each dimension and identify gaps in building a solid foundation for migration. The other common feedback we heard from our customer is that because MRA requires multiple teams from both IT and the business organization to meet together and talk through and rate 70 questions, a lot of times through the discussion, they acquired valuable insights or discovered blockers that would later delay or stall the migration. As a result of MRA, customers will receive an MRA report. The report will give you a rating and a score across the 6 categories and about 70 questions. But more importantly, it will provide specific observations and recommended actions to cover those gaps identified. These actions form the basis for the Mobilize project. Another important engagement in the first phase is to help our customers discover their environment and build a business case. Generating a compelling business case is valuable to excite business leaders to move forward with mass migration. To do so, it requires accurate information. Customers often ask for help creating an initial TCO-focused business case because they need support in 3 areas. They usually require tooling to do accurate infrastructure discovery. They seek AWS experience in finding cost-saving opportunities. And in particular, they seek AWS expertise in navigating through options to bring Windows and SQL Server licenses and optimizing their cloud implementation to reduce the licensing need. Based on that, we have created an offering called Optimization and Licensing Assessment for our customers' Windows workloads. We will provide free tooling to help customers discover their environment, as well as licensing and server utilization. Based on the results, you will receive a TCO analysis created by our licensing and economics experts. The AWS account team will work with you to present the TCO analysis to your business leadership team, supporting a compelling messaging to move forward with mass migration. Now let's talk about the Mobilize phase. In this phase, our professional service team and our migration partners will bring the tools, expertise, and migration resources together to build a solid migration foundation. The Mobilize phase is typically delivered by our professional service expert or our migration competency partners. It is where we help customers cover the gap identified during the MRA and get ready for the actual migration. A Mobilize project typically includes 8 work streams. Pictured here, the work streams focuses on different areas of migration readiness needed to execute a large-scale migration. Your individual plan is based on the gaps identified during the MRA. The work streams are, first, discovery and planning. In this phase, your application portfolio is analyzed to define target migration patterns and the migration grouping. From there, the application design process begins and an initial backlog of application ready to migrate is created. Migration plan. An overall engagement plan is created, including project plans, cost estimates, communication, and change management plans. Migration business case. With data from discovery and your migration plans, we focus on a more detailed TCO modeling, business value assessment, and the reviewing options to optimize. Landing zone. Your data center in the cloud is created, including the account structure. The network design is also produced, including VPC, VPN, DX, and multi-region designs. Additionally, the identity and access management strategy is also implemented. Skills and a center of excellence. Your team is trained to build cloud expertise across IT, security, and key business roles. Operating model. Your operational model is updated to support cloud operations, including developing runbooks for monitoring, logging, provisioning, asset management, and configuration management. Additionally, business continuity planning and disaster recovery are updated to support cloud operation. Security and compliance. Security and compliance are addressed by updating governance, risk, and compliance models. Preventive measures are implemented to protect and mitigate threats, and a security responses playbook is created. And lastly, the migration and experts. Typically, 10 to 20 applications are migrated during the Mobilize phase to gain first-hand experience while leveraging the support of migration expertise from either our professional service team or partners. At the end of the Mobilize project, you will build up your migration foundation in business, operation, security, and your virtual data center. You will also successfully migrate a few applications to prove your readiness and to start demonstrate how easy it is to actually migrate, and as well as the real-life business value. I want to spend a couple more minutes on the planning. We use the 7R model to guide our customers through the migration patterns. Each of the R's require a different level of effort and generate a different level of business results. For example, with rehost or lift and shift, you can quickly migrate an application and start seeing cost savings. A refactoring, on the other hand, would usually take longer, but you will fully enjoy the agility of a cloud-native application. Assessing your application portfolio and determining the application migration pattern for all of your applications is a critical step to the success of your migration. As part of the discovery and the planning workstream, we will help you discover not only your application dependency and data, but also the operational data and how applications are used and assessed. Our migration expert will work with you to evaluate the 7 R's for your applications based on multiple factors, including your business and technology goal, your migration timeline, and the specifics of your applications. As a result, you will have a clearly defined migration plan with recommended migration pathway for each application and a grouping of your migration waves. Now that you have built foundational capabilities and a detailed plan to accelerate your large-scale migration, you will now migrate applications in different waves. You will require the necessary tools to automate the process of actual migration. AWS and our partner ecosystem offer the most mature and complete set of tools to help automate and simplify migrations for almost any workload. I will hand off now back to Kalpan to showcase the breadth and depth of the tooling AWS offers, as well as the broader partner network.
I would like to explain a little bit about the broadest and deepest set of capabilities we have been offering to accelerate your migrations. Well, in a classic Amazonian way, we start working backwards from our customers and try to understand the problem they are trying to solve, and then lay out the options that would work best for them to meet their users' requirements. In this case, from assessment to mobilization to migration, we are offering broadest and deepest set of capabilities in the form of decision support, the planning support, and actual execution of migration, including the server database migrations, in some cases, data and storage transfers, hybrid solutions, as well as third-party software and services. So we have broadest set of capabilities to address your needs in each stage of migration with a higher level of decision support, automation, and prescriptive guidance to be able to successfully migrate your application workloads. I also want to talk about at this point that we have curated set of partners, consulting and services partners that help you integrate and help you with the entire migration project. We have certified AWS migration competency partners, as you can see from this list, and it's growing. who can help you with your migration journey. These partners have large migration practices and experience in delivering large-scale migration projects. I now would want to summarize Map for Windows program for you. Map for Windows program, as you have heard from Patrick and me, we have very strong prescriptive migration methodology. We have AWS and our partner tools to help you with automation through the journey. We have curated set of AWS partners who can come and handhold you through the actual migration process. We have AWS professional services team who can again handhold you through the planning process and execution. AWS training has also been able to offer specific solutions and training modules to help your team build their skills in migrating to AWS and AWS investments. So in all compassing, these are the 6 pillars of migration acceleration program for Windows that helps you reduce risks and offset your initial cost of migration for Windows and SQL workloads. At this point, I would want to say these are the 3 things that you can learn and go next from here. First, you can reach out to your AWS account team to learn more about Map for Windows program. You can contact our AWS team to take advantage of migrations and modernizations bootcamps and trainings. You can schedule an assessment engagement to learn how to optimize the total cost of ownership on your Windows and SQL workloads. Thank you everyone for attending. If you are interested in learning more, or if there is anything else you'd like us to cover, please rate this session. Please provide us your feedback. We are always happy to hear from you.